Hey YouTube, welcome to JB's BS, your go-to destination for all things DIY. If you love getting your hands dirty and transforming ideas into reality, you're in the right place. You'll find tips, tricks, and inspiration to fuel your next project. So grab your tools and let's get building something amazing together. Now don't forget to hit that subscribe button up there and join the JB's BS community. Let's get started.
Welcome to JB's BS, where anything can be. I make, I mend, I break, you see, from busted.
Today I have another project I'm going to start working on. When I moved into this, when our family moved into this house, the shop was full of a whole lot of things, and some of them not so good, and some of them, worth saving. And so this is one of those things that I wanted to save. And so I don't know the brand of this. It does have a tag on it, but I can't read it. So I'm going to do some more looking and cleaning and seeing if I can find anything else. Hopefully, like a good Google search might give me some information on it. But anyways, here we go. Let's see what we're working on here. Okay, here it is. Like I said, I don't know the brand of this. We can kind of zoom in here and see the plate. USA. Oh, that looks to be Roebuck and Company, USA. So I'm guessing Craftsman, Sears. Really old vintage. Geez, my mind has drawn a blank. Anyways, we all know what this is. Later. Anyways, so old pulley driven. Stuff's loose in there. I got some spare pieces over here. Kind of started loosening some things up, and so we're gonna dive into this thing and see why things aren't moving the way they should be moving. Hopefully get this thing all cleaned up and painted and get a motor hooked up to it and see what we can do with it. Okay, I got everything I think loosened up off of here, so I can pull it out. All right, so it looks like this thing just operates. It's got a shaft going through that makes it, go up and down. It makes this thing go up and down, but it doesn't really want to very much. So we'll get this thing cleaned up. It's got oil inside of it. It looks like it has a plug here, an oil plug, so you can fill the reservoir. Has a cap right here so that you can grease the bearing. Everything right there looks like it's pretty loose. The bearings seem like they might be a bit worn, but overall I think a little bit of service and I could get this thing up and running again. This guy here slides over the shaft, and when you turn this, it kind of goes up and down, rotates inside of this guy right here, back and forth, so that can go up and down. So it's kind of nice. I mean, I've never seen one of these that it's got a blade guide on it, actually, kind of like on a bandsaw, to keep the blade from wobbling back and forth. Everything, even including the miter, is just in really good shape right here. So yeah. So there's a bushing here that was back inside of here. Actually, it was on this side. Got it out. I got the pulley off. Okay, it wasn't easy. I'd like to get this thing out so that I could maybe hone the inside of this a little bit. And I just can't get this out of here. So I'm just gonna try to finish working on it with this still in there. I still have this to kind of get all apart here, but there's not a whole heck of a lot that's gonna come off of there. So, and then we'll start cleaning it and start getting it put back together. Okay, I'm gonna see if we can polish up this top real good. It's pretty rusted. I started just using an abrasive pad on it, and it's not super coarse, but everything I've read says use a little WD-40 on it. So we're gonna soak it down pretty good. It is soaking that WD-40 right up. Can't barely breathe in here with all this too, so maybe the WD-40 will keep the dust down a little bit. Let's see what this does. Yeah, definitely an improvement. So definitely see a huge difference. It's going to take a while to get this perfect, but we'll get her there. Show the end result and turn the camera off while I finish this up. So I don't know if you can see this, but that haze is dust. And this is all after 3 go rounds on this thing. So it was just really caked on there. And so I think I wore out that sander on there. So I'm going to get a new one of those, go over it one more time, and try to get a nice, one of those nice little circular patterns on here if I can to make it look good. And I think we should be good. It's not as pretty as I wanted it to be, but you can tell that it's all off because this is all metal now, not dirt. Definitely nice and clean. So this should do really nice on there for a surface. I'm doing a follow-up video on this scroll saw. I can't believe I couldn't remember the name of that stupid thing. But getting her, starting to get her put back together now. And so I wanted to kind of, get it on here and let you all see what I got going on. So here we go. Pardon my messy workstation back there. But so I decided to go with this, I don't know, this metallic paint, the Rust-Oleum paint, although I did sand this whole thing down, so it shouldn't need any kind of Rust-Oleum or anything like that, but it is what it is. So there you go. And I did tape off this tag. Unfortunately, I sanded it down a little bit, and the Roebuck and Company typing on there, it was right down here, was just printed on there, and so that was unfortunate. Of course, you couldn't really see it anyways, but at least you can see the number stamp. So, and I did actually look that number stamp up and found an entire, it was built in the 40s, and they actually have a PDF version of the user's manual for it. So that's pretty cool. A whole parts list that you can get. So anywho, all right, here we go. Let's get putting this thing together. All right, so I'm just going to speed through this really quick. I was making a gasket for this, the oil crankcase on here, where it separates the crankcase from the working surface and the driving mechanism. And it took like 8 minutes to do it, so that would be really boring to sit there and watch the whole thing. But basically, I started by making an impression by pushing it around the actual surface of the crankcase. And I did that because the parts of the actual gasket that I pulled off were broken into like 3 or 4 parts, and so I needed to match those up to the actual area that it was going to take up. And so I pushed down on it, and then I laid them down on the surface of the gasket material and traced around it with a pen around the inside, the outside, and the holes for the bolts. Then cut them out, and when I put it on there, it fit perfectly. So made me a nice brand new gasket for that. I already had the material laying around, so it worked perfect. All right, doing a little bit of a stop and go on this thing here just because I'm having to remember where all the parts go, and it would be a really long, boring video. So I got all the drive mechanism put back together in there, put my gasket on. So these 3 bolts hold the drive mechanism in place underneath. And it runs pretty smooth. I don't have any oil in there yet. And then this, I put the grease cap back in here to grease the shaft. So yeah, this one up here, there's so many parts to this up here. I'm having a hard time remembering where everything goes. So I wanted to do this first to kind of eliminate some of the parts. And I did take some videos earlier in pictures, so hopefully I can see kind of how this stuff goes together. So anyways, I'll be back in a minute. Well, here's a picture of the finished product. I don't want to apologize. This was supposed to be sort of a how-to video, but I couldn't get in there and film everything. It just took so long to figure out where all the parts went, and yeah, it took me days. And so it's sort of a start to finish, here's what I did video. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully some of the information in there helps you. All right, the top turned out pretty nice, nice and shiny. Painted the edges gray just to give it a little contrast. And so down here we got the little blade guide, here, and this is what your piece goes under. This is the blade that it had on it already, and so I just put it back on there. It took me a little bit to figure out how to adjust the tension on there and get the blade tight, but I was able to figure that out. So, and this is the other, I hope I can see. This is the other blade guide right here. You can see this, this goes around the blade, or it's supposed to. Doesn't look like it is, so I need to adjust that. But it's got a groove in it, and it slides up over that blade to keep it from twisting. This is the little breather here from down in the oil. So, got this old motor on it. So yeah, we will give her a go and see what happens. All right, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm using a little piece of thin oak plywood to see what it'll do. Lowering this down a little bit. It scrolls really nice. Nothing much, but yeah, I didn't have any trouble whatsoever making those turns, and it's really smooth. Boy, I mean, I kind of like it more than I like my my little Delta. So I'm happy. I'm impressed. I don't know. I might even mount it on a bench and use it from time to time. Well, that concludes my video of my old 1940s Craftsman scroll saw, and so it was fun. It looks nice. You know, if nothing else, it'll make a nice conversation piece in my shop. I'll put it on a wall. I don't know. Someday maybe I'll try to sell it, or probably worth more to me sitting in my shop. Maybe using it from time to time. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit the like button and think about subscribing to my channel. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome to JB's BS, where